As there have been new developments before the hearing, and with the best interests of everyone, including student athletes and the university community in mind, I have suspended Mel Tucker without pay as an additional interim measure. While the investigation continues, I made this decision with the support of university leadership.
Welcome back to Opening Statements. We're following some brand new developments in the sexual harassment case of Michigan State head football coach Mel Tucker. The now suspended coach is facing allegations that he harassed Brenda Tracy, a woman who's a sexual awareness speaker for his program. And the allegations say that an explicit late-night phone conversation between the two has come problematic in that Tracy is claiming Tucker was masturbating as they were speaking and did so without her consent. Now, Mel Tucker penned a letter in response to these allegations saying, quote, "While I'm saddened by Ms. Tracy's disclosure of the sensitive nature of this call, let me be perfectly clear. It was entirely mutual, private event between two adults living at opposite ends of the country." Tucker goes on to say she initiated the discussion that night, sent me a provocative picture of the two of us together, suggested what she may look like without clothes, and never once during the 36 minutes did she object in any manner, much less hang up the phone, end quote. Now, Brenda Tracy has a response to Tucker's claim, and she issued it via the social media platform X. Quote, "This is just more of the Darvo, deflection, victim blaming, and lies that I've been dealing with now for months. Coach Tucker has been delaying and trying to stop the investigative process since the beginning. He can't afford to go to a hearing that determines credibility of the participating parties. I believe this statement is his way of getting out of participating in the hearing. October 5th and 6th, I will be present for the hearing and make myself available for cross-examination by his attorney, Jennifer Belville. I invite him to do the same," end quote. Now, the question is, who did what? And another question, whose story is more believable? We got a great panel of legal eagles standing by to weigh in. Still with me, celebrity trial attorney John M. Phillips, sports attorney and law professor, also the host of the podcast Conduct Detrimental, Dan Lust, and criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Franz Borchardt. Gentlemen, good morning. Thanks for coming on the show. Dan Lust, you are the sports guy. I want to start with you, please. Your thoughts.
Certainly the devil's going to be in the details here, but I think for a timeline, what we have to remember is that these allegations, really the investigation is not new. This was a complaint that was brought in December of 2022. There are some reports that this investigation was completed by an outside counsel as of July of 23. So, we can certainly point back as to what Michigan State knew or didn't know. I think this is interesting. It's coming up now, but as a question of whether Michigan State had cause to fire him, it's really going to depend on what the contract says in terms of moral turpitude, acts that could embarrass the university. That's certainly what it's going to come down to. So you can certainly have a consensual act, right, that can qualify as cause under the contract. So we'll see what comes out of this hearing, but certainly $80 million on the line, and all eyes are on this case.
Right, Dan, that's a massive contract. I want to ask you in particular more about that in just a second. In terms of believability, I want to ask Franz and John to weigh in on this one. Franz, talk to me. Whose story do you find more credible and why, please?
Well, I'm going to reserve my right to answer that question, Julie.
Oh, come on, Franz.
I want a data dumping of her phone, and I want a data dumping of his phone.
Yeah.
Because it should be, he's boxed himself into a corner now.
Mm-hmm.
He's made the statement that not only was it mutual or consensual, but that certain things were talked about. There should be a very easy forensic way of proving either one of these statements, right? Now, that all being said, this is an excellent lesson for your viewers of why we should not use the bathroom where we eat. If you're the coach of a major university, perhaps—
Words of wisdom, yes.
Perhaps not come on to the individual who's responsible for what she's responsible for. So yeah, calamity, absolutely, but should be very provable on either side.
Right. No, I like where you're going, Franz. I like that. And you would think, you know what? If everybody wants to be open and truthful about this, you would think everybody would have no problem. Both of them, not everybody, these two parties, Brenda Tracy, Mel Tucker, would both say, hey, yeah, look at the text messages. Let me show the world. And then we get to the bottom of it and everybody can move on. John Phillips, last but certainly not least, weigh in for us, please.
I don't even know necessarily what some of the text messages matter under Title IX. You know, when the university has to release a statement that says we are not the MSU of old, you know, and try to distance itself from some of its past history with Larry Nassar and some of the other allegations, to y'all's point, you've got a 36-minute conversation where a high-profile leader of that university pulls out his penis with the person on the other line, a woman's rights advocate. It's one of the worst decisions, if not the worst decision, probably made in Michigan State football history. Like, why would you, gentlemen? Do not pull your penis out in phone calls. It's just not necessary to send these pictures and do this. Like, I don't know why I have to keep reminding you of this.
Right, John Phillips. Let's talk a little bit about the contract. It is massive. Dan Lust, you mentioned this. We have a 10-year, $95 million contract in play here. Signed back in 2021, the contract fully guaranteed, but under university rules, if he's found in violation of his terms, he could be fired with cause. Here's some reaction from this news in East Lansing.
At the end of the day, it's a black mark on MSU regardless. So there's definitely going to be some disciplinary action, whether that be a suspension, whether that be him being terminated, I don't know, but they're definitely going to have to do something.
His argument would be, they're throwing me out for moral turpitude. This isn't moral turpitude. I think that's a tough argument for him because what he has done has embarrassed the university.
Dan Lust, back to you, please. Take us back in time when Coach Tucker signed this big deal. Why was it that he got so much money?
Yeah, I mean, he's helping revitalize the program in East Lansing. I think, you know, we could go around the Big Ten, around college football. These contracts are very big, and they create very large problems on the other end. You know, I think it's important, and I like those quotes that people provided here. And this is why I gave you a little bit of that time frame, right? This is a complaint that comes out in December. And really, we only have this leak that occurred the past couple of weeks. There was an investigation that was reportedly completed in July. So why now are we talking about Mel Tucker being put on administrative leave? Why now are we talking about his job security when Michigan State knew about this, you know, for the past 6 months? So the question is, why is he being fired? Is he being fired for the act itself, or is he being fired to the reaction to the act? And that's really where it comes into play, be it moral turpitude, embarrassing the university. And I think really the larger thing is, why are we going to a hearing that's scheduled for, I think it's October 2nd, that first week of October. It's this level of transparency. We didn't have it with Larry Nassar. We didn't have it with the Northwestern situation, the hazing situation that occurred a couple weeks ago. We didn't have it when the Big Ten canceled college football about 3 years ago. And so Michigan State has to do the right thing and really have it, this kind of adversarial hearing, which we don't see that often. Obviously, it's going to be behind closed doors, but that's the best way for the truth to come out, to have both parties give their version in court and let an independent third party make that assessment.
Right, Dan. Yeah, well said. You know, when Brenda Tracy issued her statement, she kind of insinuated that, oh, he's getting out ahead of it with his story. This, you know, seems like he wants to issue this statement so as not to go to the hearing. It was almost as if she's suggesting he's not going to show, but he's got to show, right, Franz Borghardt? He's got to be there and stand up for himself, doesn't he?
Well, theoretically, yes. However, I would hope that his attorney had talked to him before he made the statement he made. And if he has this exonerating evidence on his cell phone, maybe he doesn't have to show up. Maybe his position is, I don't need to show up. This speaks for itself. Who in the world stays on the phone for 30 some odd minutes knowing or claiming that he's doing what she's claiming he's doing and not hang up?
Right.
Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So maybe there are some other reasons, but look, he's doubled down. He said this was mutual, consensual. She participated in it, so maybe the cell phone information is enough for him.
Absolutely. And let's take it a step further. I love what you just said, Franz. John Phillips, let's say you're representing Coach Tucker here, and he says, gosh,